So it is currently 8 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon, and Portland is about to have our first snow day of the year. And if you know anything about Portland, Oregon, you know that when it snows, the city tends to shut down. Schools are closed, businesses are closed, because we are just not set up for snow at all. And it's so hilly here that it's really not realistic with the ice for people to be like going out and about. It's pretty unsafe. That being said, I work at an elementary school, and so I have the day off. At least I'm hoping. It still has not been called yet for the snow day, but you know, I'm hoping by the time my alarm goes off in the morning that I'll be able to just turn that alarm right back off. Now, there's something really satisfying to me about on a snow day, just absolutely crafting all day. So I'm really focusing on trying to not complete a project in a day, but get a good chunk of a project done that I've been meaning to work on. That brings in the Sophie scarf, or the Sophia scarf. Now, I have seen this all over my For You page, my Pinterest, every social media platform I have. People are making the Sophie scarf. Even more so, I have recently been seeing like the Sophia hood or the shawl. Those really have piqued my interest. It's a really simple design, and as someone who is like just kind of getting into increases and decreases in knitting, I feel like this is a challenge that I really can get into. I don't know how much I would actually wear a Sophie scarf, just because I tend to not wear like necklaces or scarves in general already. But I feel like the shawl or the hood is something I could get behind, especially with this weather. What I'm thinking is I have this yarn here. I have 2 skeins of it. I got this at an estate sale. It is Encore Tweed. It is 75% acrylic, 22% wool, 3% rayon. And I'm not sure what else I would make with this. It's not enough to make like a huge garment, but I feel like a scarf or a shawl is the perfect opportunity to kind of use up this part of my stash. The only thing is that I looked online at the pattern, and the Sophie scarf, I have enough yarn for the Sophie scarf. The shawl and the hood require slightly more yarn than what I have between my 2 skeins. Between these two, I have 200 grams, roughly 400 yards. I don't know if that's gonna be enough, but I'm kind of willing to play yarn chicken with this just a little bit. That might be really risky. That might be a really risky thing to do. This is a very simple pattern, especially the shawl and the Sophie scarf. I did do enough research that I think I can figure out how to do this by myself without buying the pattern. With that being said, I have my set of interchangeable needles, and I think I'm gonna use 4mm needles for this project. I feel like that would be a good size. And I have this, and I'm going to try and get as much done as I can within the next, let's say 2 days. Like I said, it's currently Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. And I'm expecting Thursday to have school canceled, fingers crossed for Friday, and then with the weekend, and then there's President's Day. So really, I have quite a bit of time on my hands that I could do. Okay, now that I have my 6 stitches casted on, I'm gonna go ahead and get started knitting. Every tutorial that I looked at said that I needed to knit 3 starting off, and then carry my yarn over and slip purlwise 3, and then turn around. And that's how I'm supposed to get that nice border that's on the Sophie scarf. I'm really hoping that it turns out, because I've always been curious on how to make the edges of my knit look nice. And if this works out, then I'm doing this on every project that I have, because it really bothers me when you do a garter stitch, how bumpy and like uneven it can become. I'm gonna do this for, I'm gonna say 8 rows. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start doing 1 increase every 8 rows and go from there. I saw a couple different people say like 8, 10, 12, that kind of thing. And I just feel like 8 is like a good short number, because I'm a little impatient. And since I am making the shawl, I think it's gonna take a while for the increases to stack up to fit the size that I want. Like, I kind of have a big head, and for the shawl, I'm gonna need this to be pretty wide. So I think I'm gonna go with the shorter amount of increases just for like speed of production at this point. As I'm going, I've only been doing the knit 3, carry over, slip 3, and I think it's doing something. At the moment, it looks very uniform on one side and a little bit hectic on the other, but when I flip it, it's the same way. I think once I start doing the increases and it gets wider, that'll kind of get better. But right now, I don't know if I'm pulling it tight enough or not, but you can see the carryover a little bit. Maybe I need to make my tension better. For now, I'm gonna keep my tension the same, but that might be an experiment with future projects if I ever use this method again. Okay, it is currently 10:30 now. I'm gonna go to bed. I got this much work done. I'm now working with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm now working with 20 stitches, which I first started off with 6 stitches, so I've made 14 increases so far. I have all of my little stitch markers, which I originally was gonna keep on the entire time that I worked on this project, but I honestly don't know if I have enough stitch markers. I'm now at the point where I could just hold out this stitch length for a little while and then do the decreases and make just the little Sophie scarf. And I think it would be really cute, but I really don't know how much I would wear a little scarf like this. Like, it's just not my style. That being said, it's taken me 2.5 hours to knit this much. And Sophie Shawl needs to be so much bigger. So now that I'm looking at this, I don't think I would be able to get the Sophie Shawl done in time for me to wear it in the snow. I might be able to get it done by next week. So I might be able to get it done within like this weekend period, but I don't know for sure. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go for the shawl just because I know I would wear like a shawl way more often than I would use like the little scarf. I'll pick it up tomorrow. I'll let you know if it snows. Fingers crossed. Everyone do whatever you did as a kid in order to make it snow in time for school. Everyone needs to do it. That way we can manifest some snow because I don't want to go to school tomorrow. It's kind of hard to tell it from with the blinds, but there's lots of snow out there. It's very, very windy. I haven't touched the knitting at all since last night, so I really just foresee today being like a watch movies, watch YouTube, and knit kind of day, which I'm really excited about. I saw someone on TikTok make a video about how making the Sophie Shawl was really just garter stitch hell. And yeah, I agree. I firmly agree that all you're doing is counting your rows and doing a garter stitch, and then every 8 rows you make 1 increase. And let me tell you, this is slow going. This is by far the slowest that I've ever knit. I think I would rather do a rectangular scarf, because then at least I could like zone out on whatever rows I was doing. But I'm having to concentrate and be like, okay, this is the 3rd row, the 3rd row, the 3rd row, which I'm not good at remembering apparently. Apparently, I lose track all the time. Like, for example, I actually have no idea what row I just did. No idea, so I have to go back and look for my increase. Okay, I've done 4 rows. But so far, I've done this much. I have I've increased quite a bit, but actually I want to get to the point where this is double its width. So it's going to take a lot longer for me to get there. And then I also saw a video of someone saying that they did a strip with no increases in the very middle to help like widen that section to make it more of like a hood without a hood. And I really like that idea. See, I've been measuring it very scientifically, where I go like this, as the shawl, and I know I need about that much more, so about double. Very scientific method, let me tell you. I still have a decent chunk left, and I think what I'm going to do, because I have a little bit less than like what the original pattern would call for, I am going to just use up this skein, and the minute I finish this skein, I'm just going to turn around and start the decreases for this. But that way I can at least make sure that it's even on each side, because I think that would be the worst part, is if I get like partway through, I go through, finish this, and then I don't have enough for the tail on the other side. Like, I feel like that would be really awkward. I might make it so that this shawl is pretty short, but in that case, it's just kind of like a cool scarf. Good morning, happy Valentine's Day. I am wearing my lovely heart tapestry blanket quarter zip that I made, and it is honestly my favorite thing that I've ever made. I knit pretty far into the night last night, so I got like a decent chunk done. I have this much done of it. It's very long, but it's still not wide enough. If I put it where I want it on the back of my head, it lands about here. So I need probably about 3 more inches, and then I'll be happy with the width of it. This is how much I have left. It is very, very, very small. It is compacted. I'm running out. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get the 3 inches done with this, but I'm gonna try my best. Honestly, at this point, I'm just gonna keep knitting until I run out of yarn, and then I'll turn around and do this. It is still very snowy. I think it snowed more overnight. It had not snowed when I went to bed, but I woke up and it's still very white, though it has all turned to ice. Usually what happens is we get snow and then it's fun for the first day, and then after that it's miserable and dangerous and no one wants to go out in it, which is why the city shuts down. So I'm just gonna stay at home again. Obviously my school is closed, so I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just gonna stay here and I'm just gonna knit. And honestly, I kind of feel like having a Hunger Games movie marathon today. So I might watch all 4 of the Hunger Games movies. That sounds like a good idea to me. Okay, I am officially halfway done with my Sophie shawl. It is very long. It goes down to my knee. Like, that is so much. I went ahead, it is probably like an inch shorter than I actually would like, but I officially reached the end of one skein, so I'm just gonna turn it around now, attach the other skein, and start decreasing. We're officially all downhill from here. It will only get easier. There will only be less stitches per row, so I'm really hoping that helps with the motivation, because it was really rough there for this last part where each row was so long and I had to count so many times. It was a lot easier when I was doing only like 10 stitch rows. Life was way easier down here at the bottom. I'm hoping it stays that way for when I get to the very end. I am finally down to my last 6 stitches, which is where I'm gonna leave off. I have done the rows needed, and now I can finally cast off on this project. Okay, and that is all done. And you know what, in the nick of time, it's not quite yarn chicken. I still had this much left, which makes me wonder about my tension and what was different on each side, going with the increases and going with the decreases, because I still have quite a bit of this left. This is enough. I probably could have done another row or 2 in the middle to make it a little bit wider, which kind of is annoying, but it is what it is. And I'm interested to see if this will block wider. This is a mix of acrylic, wool, and rayon, this yarn, and so I'm hoping that wool really comes out in this and that I'm able to block it to be a little bit wider, though I did try it on and I was pretty happy with the results. So if I try it on, just so it has all my stitch markers in it right now. Oh my gosh. My hair's in a claw clip so it doesn't lay flat. But once I have it on, my original goal was to have it be long enough that the hood part, or this back there wasn't a gap. And with my claw clip and everything, there is a pretty significant gap. There's probably about that much, which is fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. This is what it looks like though. I need to go in and obviously like sew in some of the loose ends, take out the clips, and then I should be done. I'm really, really happy with this, but I'm gonna do all of the little bits and bobs and you are going to see the results. I think we can call this one a success. The only thing that I can think to do differently would have been to use more yarn and make the point of this slightly wider, just so it like fell a little further in the back. When I wear hair clips, especially, or ponytails, then there is kind of a gap from where this hood ends and then where the scarf wraps around. But I love it. I think it's so cute. I definitely plan on wearing it for the rest of the winter, and definitely see this as something that I would wear a long time, not just like a knitting trend, you know? I think this was a fantastic snow day surprise. Did not finish it in time to actually wear it in the snow. Definitely it is well past that. All of the snow was melted at this point, but you know, I did finish it in time to wear it in the rain, which this is Portland, Oregon. We're gonna get a lot of rain. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this and having like a fun little excuse to just watch movies, knit, and enjoy the snow. I upload videos every other Tuesday usually, and I like to quilt and sew and do lots of knitting projects. So thank you so much. I also just realized as I finished the project, I think at the beginning I said I was going to use 4.0mm needles. These are definitely 5. I definitely grabbed the wrong one, so that helped my gauge to stretch out this yarn a little bit more too. It made it a little bit looser, and I'm happy with how it turned out, so I'm not mad at it. But if you're ever gonna do this yourself, like I said, this is not a tutorial, this is a vlog, but if you ever want to do this yourself, 5.0mm needles turned out perfectly fine with this worsted weight yarn. And, oh, I always get distracted as I'm knitting. See, this is why I shouldn't talk and knit at the same time. It's a tongue twister. Sophie Shawl. Sophie Shawl.